Secretary Robredo, Loren Garneau, May, Basil, Governor Pingoy, mayors, colleagues, friends, good morning. I won't take too long. I do want to take the opportunity to just give a little bit of an overview before we go into the whole 2 days. So, next slide, please. I thought too that we should probably start off with defining LED, just so we all have a common understanding of what we're referring to when we say local economic development. And what we refer to is that it is a process by which public, business, and non-governmental sector partners work collectively to create better conditions for economic growth and employment generation for both women and men. Its purpose is to build up the economic capacity of a local area to improve its economic future and the quality of life for all. But to take it further, to take LED further, we're calling it sustainable local economic development. And what characterizes sustainable LED is that it's equitable and gender sensitive, that it is market driven and economically viable, that it is environmentally sound, and that it promotes partnerships among LGUs, private sector, and communities. To support sustainable LED though, it can't happen overnight, nor can we do it alone. So very important is leadership and championship, such as ELD, a systematic LED process, so putting a name to some of these things that we're all doing and finding a rhythm and a rhyme to it, and a whole of government approach to LED in terms of support. Why entrepreneurial, and why, and what are we referring to when we say an entrepreneurial mindset? Well, we're borrowing a term from the private sector, entrepreneurial, and because it has so many of those good qualities, such as being innovative, being flexible, being results oriented, and these are some of the other qualities or characteristics that we find in an entrepreneurial mind. Now the LED process, we've sort of simplified it to 5, and it all starts with the organization of the LED team. And in your case, it would be a provincial or an alliance LED team. And we'll talk more about that in the next couple of days, but it's not just made up of local government officials or staff, but it should involve the private sector, academe, and community members. It's also important, the next step would be about understanding the economy, the local economy, what makes it ticks, what are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And that's also when we do things like industry, sector analysis, value chain, and all of these are important tools in understanding the local economy. Based on your understanding or one's understanding of the economy, one develops the LED strategy. And that strategy builds on the strategies that the LGU already has, but focusing on the economic drivers. And prioritization comes next, identifying what LED actions should be done, and then reviewing the LED results. So it's really a cycle, and that's the point we wanted to emphasize in this slide. We have a whole of government framework that Secretary Robredo referred to a little bit earlier, which will be practiced through economic transformation teams. There's a presentation on this later this afternoon, but in a nutshell, it's about having one approach, national and local, in terms of pursuing LED that provides mechanisms for NGAs, private sector, academia, and NGOs to converge resources, coordinate and collaborate to assist LGUs implement their local economic development priorities. It emphasizes that government, both national and local, are enablers, complementers, and facilitators, and it is the private sector, private enterprises that are the major actors. It organizes current policies, programs, and services into 3 windows, and again, I'll let the presenter this afternoon talk about that. But it's all about how to bundle across these windows of programs and services so that LGUs can be helped in fast-tracking their economic development plans and strategies. So what is LGSP-LED doing and to help in all of this? There's one slide on what we're doing at the national level. We are working with DILG to build capacity in LED policy development, such as tourism policy, agribusiness policy. We have some work that is ongoing right now with the policy team of DILG. Public-private partnerships is also a new old term. And how does that affect LGUs? Because as we were talking about last week in another workshop, without LGUs there will be no PPP. I mean, it's important that LGUs is at the center of all of that. Local investments, an incentive code, revenue code, and alternative measures for local economic growth. These are some of the policies that are being done or worked on. LED information. LED information continues to be a challenge. Information that is locally available, that the private sector can access or LGUs can pull out when necessary. We're doing LED forums, both nationally and regionally. A LED information program is something we're working on with LGA to develop. What exactly does that mean? What kinds of economic data is important for private sector to understand and know? The BPLS help desk that we've been working on with DILG, DTI, LGA, it's now functioning. It's up and ready to check on and to access. LED knowledge clusters is another tool through, like LGRCs would be one, but also academic industry links. How do we make use and collaborate very clearly with community colleges or colleges based right in your back door? And finally, this whole bundling of services through national and economic transformation teams. Our local level work is you, and this map is where you're all situated. We have Batch 1, OPAL, which is One Pangasinan Alliance of LGUs, BIAD 5 in Bohol, Province of Guimaras, and DDP Caroma in Northern Zamboanga. Batch 2, Metro Naga, Province of Leyte, Metro Iloilo, Padayon, Ala Valley, Landscape Development Alliance. And then the other assistance will be provided to the rest of the group, which is Coincide, Cumilos, Second Ayad of Iloilo, Province of Iloilo, and the Province of Northern Samar and Palma. So what's in store for the next 2 days, today and tomorrow, which is the first part of the LED Fundamentals course? The objectives are to embrace entrepreneurial leadership, or ELD, appreciate sustainable local economic development, to understand the structure and roles and responsibilities of that LED team for the Alliance, create and analyze opportunities. This morning, at 11:30, we'll have the first parallel session, which will have two presenters, and the main topic is growing local economies. And this time it's very much from a private sector perspective. So you see what they are looking for, but what we want to figure out is where is the LGU in all of this, and how do we make that relationship work. So the first one is Upland Marketing Foundation, which works with Upland produce and very successfully. The second case is Growing the Tourism Economy, the North Philippines Visitors Bureau. So that one is also a private sector presentation, very interesting. At noon, we have the pleasure of Secretary De Los Reyes of DAR and Undersecretary Bern Puyat of DA to talk about their convergence for rural economic development. At 1 o'clock, the second parallel session is on multi-stakeholder partnerships for LED. The first one is financing. We have someone from DBP who is coming to talk about their financing of Camsur Water Sports Complex. So instead of looking at it from CAMSUR's perspective, we're looking at it from the financing side, and what is it that made them think that it was something to invest in or to loan to, and that sort of thing. The second case is on lessons in promoting and marketing rural industries, and that's the PDAP example in Pecuaria. It's a cooperative that has really been able to do a lot out of their organic rice, and in Sultan Kudarat, their Muscovado product. So that another case on what they were able to do in terms of the value chain. Parallel session 3 at 2 o'clock is on entrepreneurial management, and this one is we have a case on performance government systems by Jess Stanislao, and then 2 cases that are related. So it'll be like a panel, and this one is on business-friendly policies and systems. One is from the PCCI awards program. Why did they give these top awards? What was in it, and why? And then doing business in LGUs with the IFC example of what they have been able to do in the cities. At 3 is the LED framework. Attorney Eve Hees will do the presentation on that, on what exactly are we referring to when we say LED framework and ETTs. And then the job of a LED team. We have a case from Carmona that will make the presentation. What makes up their LED team, and why they've been able to work. What are the roles and responsibilities? How do they engage the private sector? That kind of thing. And then last but certainly not least is we have a mayor, or a former mayor, Mayor Yasay of Pole in Misamis Occidental, who is coming to do the sort of, given all of the above, what are the characteristics and things, what is the secret to being an ELD, an entrepreneurial, or EL, entrepreneurial leader? And so that will end the day, and I think there's a couple of more slides. This is for tomorrow. Tomorrow it will be a little bit more straightforward. We have presentations. We'll start at 8:30. The LED understanding the local economy. What does that mean? The LED process. Workshop where you will prepare your re-entry plan given your understanding of the LED process. Presentation of plans, and then closing at 4. And I thought one more slide about what comes next after the 2 days, and we'll hear more about this tomorrow, but just so our guests can also hear. And this, after the 2-day course, will follow the rest of the fundamentals course, which is 5 days on LGU management and sustainable LED. So a little bit more focused, more time, because it'll be 5 days. And we're still trying to determine the date. That's something we'll talk to you about tomorrow. The end of June is what we are marking at the moment. And after that, those 5 days, that will end the sitting at the table and planning, because after then we go back to our LGUs, and then everything begins, because it will be applying, it will be looking at 3 areas: agribusiness, tourism, and something we're calling business retention and expansion, which is really about what an LGU needs to do in terms of policies, structures, mechanisms to make their LGU more business friendly, to whether it be business registration processes, whether it be regular dialogues with the private sector and the academe. There's a number of tools and examples that we'd like to share with you. So these are, and get started on in your LGUs. It will be, the application part will be something where you take control of what it is you want to do, and we will be supporting you. So I think that is my last slide, Kathy, right? Oh, in terms of the materials, we're trying to, DILG has a policy, or is trying to put in place a paperless, work towards a paperless policy. Director Godis. And so in trying to keep with that, although it's really hard to do because we're also used to so much paper, we are putting all the presentation materials and other references on a Google site, so you can access it as of lunchtime even. Not now. SEF says you can access it now. So if you need the information or if you need to send it anywhere or access it, this is where you check google.com site ELDP program. I think that's it. Thank you very much.